Ah, did I get you? It's not Ungrim Iron Fist, no. It is, in fact, Grombrindle. So, Gromby is probably one of the strongest dwarf lords in combat. I mean, he's unbreakable, 500 weapon strength, 70 attack, magic damage. They also gave him back his flash bomb, which is just fantastic. Got an area of effect, unbreakable melee defense. Grombrindle has no fear with a limited number of uses. Yeah, only one use in multiplayer. Bow Seeker, of course, Rune Axe of Grombrindle for Discourage. And he also has this plus 12 leadership Rune Helm of Zufbar. Today, this replay from Goblin Cleaver, who's had a few replays recently, taking Grombrindle and the Ethereal Thane with Frostbite, magic damage, armor piercing, terror, of course, Hans Valhirson, Strider, physical resistance, not that much HP, but potentially quite good. The rest of the build here, we've got a Gyro Bomber here, the Regiment Renowned Skyhammer, some Miners with Blasting Charges, some Dwarf Warriors, Iron Drakes, the Trollhammer Torpedo variant for anti-large AP missiles, some Grumbling Guard here over on the side, Corlers, Warriors, Dragonfire Pass, Slayers, Iron Breakers, and Rangers with great weapons. So quite a varied build from the Dwarfs here. We've got Bellicor coming in on the other side, Soul of Damnation, we've got Chaos Warriors, and Chaos Warriors with great weapons. Forsaken on the side, Marauder Horsemen, Sibilant Slaughtercade, Regiment of Renown, Slaanesh Chariot that are pulled by the Steeds of Slaanesh with extra speed, Devastating Flanker, all that. We've also got ROR Doom Knights. No, just regular Doom Knights. They're going to charge down here, and the Dwarf player, Goblin Cleaver, makes a great play, hard landing the Skyhammer right in the center of the Slayers, the Grumbling Guard, all of his important hard-hitting units. The Skyhammer can then screen out through the infantry. Bellicor is going to get distracted fighting the Grumbling Guard, and then the Skyhammer can immediately pop away and pop back up into the air. We've got blasting charges going off in the background, Rangers getting pounded by the chariots, but here, the Bomber's going to go for a quick bombing run, but it's a little bit of a mistake from Goblin Cleaver. I just wanted to point this out. The Skyhammer, it is a gyro bomber technically, but gyro bombers should really be called gyro snipers because this missile damage is absolutely absurd on single targets, especially up close. If you can hit with all 8 of those shots per volley, it probably should have immediately, once it took off, just turn around and shoot Bellicor directly in the face. I mean, you've got the range. Looks like the Iron Drakes are not going to be able to do any damage to him. They've been jumped by the Doom Knights here. And the suppression speed debuff would mean that he could get locked on the ground by the Slayers and wouldn't be able to pop back up and get to the Skyhammer. Although, Skyhammer is currently going on a bombing run, which just did a ton of damage to those Forsaken. And now is going to come back around, I think, and hit these Chaos Warriors. Yeah, nice bombing run on those Chaos Warriors there as well. So definitely generating some value. Warriors Dragonfire Pass trying to push back these Marauders, but the Sibilant Slaughtercade, which is one of the funnest RORs to say, that extra speed does mean they hit a little bit harder on the charge due to the mass calculation. Those Slaanesh champs looking great on the back of their chariots there as they pound into the back of those Miners with Blasting Charges there. Another bomb drop on the Forsaken. I didn't realize actually that the bomb drops do apply the suppression debuff. Maybe? Yes, it actually does apply the suppression debuff, which is crazy. Big tear route for the Dwarfs, though, as Bellicor is just such a force to try and deal with. A lot of these units are going to run from the hills. I thought for sure Grumbling Guard had immune to Psychology, but I guess not. They are going to route away momentarily. Of course, they'll come back. Slayers are going to continue to fight as they are unbreakable, as will Hans and... I almost said Gotrek here. It's Grombrindle, in fact. Gotrek would have been a pretty good pick here, too, as well. The Skyhammer is going to go back now and I think try and shut down the Soul of Damnation, which is also, again, a good call, but not sniping Bellicor when you had a good opportunity to is potentially going to come back to haunt the Dwarfs pretty badly later in the game. But let's see. Oof, man, that guy in particular just getting absolutely stabbed in the head by one of those Doom Knights. Nice kind of mix of Slaanesh and Tzeentch here as they fight a lot of these dwarf units. Slayers are going to continue to battle it out, though, and deal some nice damage back. You can see the Doom Knights actually getting routed away by Hans. Hans now eating some damage from Bellicor. Bellicor kind of waiting until he has a good opportunity to try and fight Hans. 2v1, it's still going to be pretty rough, and if he's not able to finish the Ethereal Thane off quickly, he's going to run into some problems, but Grombrindle fighting back. He's going to be able to use this Flash Bomb to lock Bellicor in and also debuff his melee defense significantly as well. Got some Warriors coming back from route, getting in here. Nasty shots from the Soul of Damnation. You can see the Skyhammer trying to shoot the Soul of Damnation. I'm not sure. It might actually be able to destroy the artillery gun itself if you're firing from the right angle, but right now, I don't think... I think it's hitting the ground right next to the artillery piece, unfortunately, rather than destroying the piece itself, but Dwarfs can definitely hold out for quite some time. Ironbreakers do get an opportunity to throw some charges, and it does a pretty good amount of damage, even despite their own damage taken, right? They're down half their models, but still, man, Ironbreakers charges, they deal extra damage when compared to Miners charges, and as a result, it is quite devastating. Marauder Horsemen, though, also continuing to fire here, trying to throw, I think, into the back of these Grumbling Guard, whereas Dragon Fire Pass, perhaps doing a little bit of friendly damage as well, but in the meanwhile, the duel between Be'lakor and Grombrindle is not going particularly well for the first Demon Prince. Be'lakor just struggling to fight Grombrindle, especially with the support of Hans here, but just in general, I mean, Be'lakor, in terms of raw stats, doesn't have the HP, but, I mean, pretty close in terms of attack, defense, weapon strength, and all that to Be'lakor. So they are, I would say they're fairly comparable combatants, and at this particular point, they have almost the same HP, really close to the same HP. So let's see. It's still anyone's game at this point, but again, I would point out that the damage from the Gyro Bomber would have made the difference. Certainly, you know, given the amount of DPS it has over 10 seconds, you know, a little 10-20 seconds firing that main gun would have taken off a couple thousand HP, which would probably be the difference. At this point, the Dwarfs could take the game, but the game will go longer as a result, and Hans and Grombrindle will just have to continue to fight it out old school. No new fangled contraptions, just axe to skull. Apply axe directly to the skull, please. Oh, yeah. Just grinding it out. I have to say, this Glacial Lake map has given rise to some of the closest games I have seen in terms of land battles in this Immortal Empires. Since Immortal Empires released, I've had a ton of really close games sent to me on this particular map, and it's awesome. It's a fun map. I mean, it's very simple and straightforward, especially for melee factions, but it's awesome to see the Dwarfs just take it to chaos here, largely due to their hero combination, but Skyhammer's also a potent tool, given the changes to explosion damage, but you see how it's only shooting like one model with the scatter shot, and the accuracy also from the ROR status means it's literally overkilling like one Chaos Warrior with 1700 damage. So that's one of the reasons why I say it's really a gyro sniper, because it should be used against single entities, the main gun at least, as it flies beneath the ice there on the charge animation. The Chaos Shrine is over here. If you want to fly down below the ice level, you can go right over there. Anyway, Grombrindle continuing to hold out here. He's got Hans in tow. The Frostbite, actually, from the Ethereal Thane is really nice to have in multiplayer consistently, although it is a little bit limited of a controllability. You can stack it right with suppression here. You've got the speed debuff from the Regiment Renowned Slayers, Rune of Slowness, of course, from the Rune Casters. You can stack all of these together or, you know, individually to make sure you get a lot of speed debuffs to try and control your opponents. At this point, though, I love the Gyro Sniper being used here to chase routing units. Great play there, and following up with Grombrindle and the Thane. You can see once the chariots get close, Be'lakor comes close, the Skyhammer kind of pulls back, but oh, that land right in the center of that block of Dwarfs, that was brutal. There's the flash bomb from Grombrindle. It's been used a couple of times there, but debuffing significantly. Be'lakor down to 31 melee defense. He does pop Shadow Shroud to try and resist. Bit of Shades as well to finish off the last of the Dwarven infantry supporting. That will also, of course, probably finish off those Marauder Horsemen as well. And somewhere in there is Grombrindle and the Ethereal Thane, both still somehow fighting. And the fact that Be'lakor hasn't been able to focus one or the other means that together they are stronger, right? Together, Dwarfs strong. Something like that. Hans takes a few vicious hits there and might actually return to the realm of the ancestors here. Yep, looks like he does go down, but the hits that he took during that time is enough for Grombrindle to get a few more key hits, whacking at the ankles of the first Demon Prince, smashing his kneecaps. Let's see, it's a lot of RNG at this point, but notice how Be'lakor is attacking the Grumbling Guard rather than attacking Grombrindle. I mean, that attack animation lands on Gromby, but just did a few attacks into the Grumbling Guard. Gromby, though, now in response going to take a charge from the Sibilant Slaughtercade, which kind of, again, leads to Be'lakor potentially attacking something else, but looks like he was actually able to stand firm there. Now the Marauder Horsemen come. So the support unit situation definitely far in Chaos' favor. Not really going to be great for Grombrindle, but let's see. We'll keep the health bars up, keep a wide view. Got some Iron Breakers coming back in. Got the Skyhammer continuing to chase those Chaos Warriors, making sure they don't come back. But all it takes is for Grombrindle to fell the beast, and then the rest of these units will rout, right? So right now he's a little bit surrounded by the Horsemen, but let's see. Come on, Gromby. Come on. There it is, the Flash Bomb. And maybe he's thinking about it. The Iron Breakers eventually do make it in here, and they're going to get a couple of attacks. Fell a couple of the Horsemen. There we go. Be'lakor finally pushes through his own Horsemen to re-engage. I think the Flash Bomb might have even worn off by now. Grombrindle will get slapped over. Oh, the suspense. It's so close. Maybe. Perhaps. Where is Grombrindle? It's kind of hard to see him in all of this. We'll keep an overhead view so we can actually see his head, because he is completely surrounded by large units at this point. Oh, man. Yeah, let's put the health bars back up. It looks like Be'lakor is gone. Oh, man, of course, as soon as I put the health bars up, I missed the finishing blow. But with him going down, everything else just routs immediately, and that's going to be game for the Dwarfs, I believe. Yeah, I might have to finish off a couple of these chariot models. Definitely bonk Horny Chariot. And there it goes. I think, yes, nope. Technically, there's still the Unbreakable Dwarf, Chaos Dwarf crew. So, oh yeah, here's the true duel. Got a Chaos Dwarf here, charging in, hand axe out, ready to go. Fighting Grombrindle. Can he do it? No, he cannot. There you go. Beautiful, beautiful game. Really nice. Well played on both sides. An interesting build from Warriors of Chaos. I mean, Be'lakor is certainly a force to deal with, and I kind of get taking some potent flying tools to interrupt Yowie shooting, and especially to go after gyrocopters, gyro bombers. At the end of the day, though, I mean, this thing still ends up paying for itself. Again, a little bit of a kind of misuse there, you could argue, but a lot of people don't realize that the gyro bomber actually is a single entity sniper, so could have perhaps turned the tide of that battle a little bit sooner, but even still, did enough, certainly. The Sibilant Slaughtercade were also a pretty decent pick. Of course, Warriors with great weapons are almost always going to be good in this matchup. Regular Warriors didn't do quite as hot, but were able to tank a little bit. Probably some more Marauder Horsemen would be in order, I think, here, especially the armor-piercing throwing axes from the Dwarf side. I mean, obviously, Grombrindle is going to carry almost 3,000 value there. Definitely an absolute unit of a Dwarf Lord. Slayers also have some decent units to fight, and they do get some great value there. Iron Drakes with Trollhammer Torpedoes. Smart for the Warriors of Chaos to just jump them immediately, because they are a very dangerous unit for somebody like Be'lakor himself. Yeah, some nice value spread around on the rest of these units. The Hans ended up not actually getting that much value in and of himself. We can look at the cost here, actually, in just a second. But, yeah, you know what? Actually, let's just get to that. The Ethereal Thane for the Dwarfs, in terms of cost and abilities and whatnot. Yeah, so if we go on over to the Dowie here. Where is he at? Do you have to actually, like, customize him, or? Yes, down here. So, I guess, in expanded roster, but that is with unit caps on that you can actually select him, so that's interesting. Yeah, you come in here, you pick him. He's got the Ironbeard's Ring, weakness to fire, which can be nice if you have a fire-based setup. Wouldn't have been wildly useful in that particular battle. Rune of Dismay is nice, that extra, again, layering speed debuff. And then Silverhorn of Vengeance is kind of a weird item to use in practice. Charge bonus on Dwarf Infantry. I mean, if you're countercharging other infantry, this is mildly useful, but it's only plus 12, which at the end of the day really isn't that much. So, I mean, given a relatively cheap kit, I guess he did end up paying for himself, which is nice to see, definitely. So, hopefully you guys enjoyed watching this one. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.